And I'm going to keep you going, Fiona, because one of my questions to you was, as a nutritionist and passionate vegan who has overcome illness by, working with a vegan diet, what do you see the benefits as being a vegan? We've touched on it already, but is it possible also to stay vegan for more than 10 years?
Well, for me, actually, next month will be 8 years.
We'll find out in 2 years.
So I'll come back in 2 years.
Maybe tonight with the occasional salami.
I think it is possible, but what I do think is, and this is with any diet, I find that you can eat a junk food diet, you can eat a junk food vegan diet, you can eat a junk food paleo diet, you can eat a junk food, raw diet, maybe not so much, but you can still have a lot of sugar, a lot of sugar and a lot of raw desserts and that kind of stuff. So, you can overdo it with any diet. And I think, if we look at, and that's why I'm really passionate about getting back to basics, really connecting with more, evolutionary, what we would have eaten, like simple foods and things like that, simple ways of preparing foods, whole foods, that kind of thing. So when we stick with that and we eat a variety, so really thinking about what's in season, I think we've forgotten. You go into a supermarket today and, you see all these fruits and vegetables. I mean, could you tell me what's actually in season locally here right now? I mean, most of us probably couldn't because we've got everything available. And for me, actually, I started going to the local markets and, buying fresh foods, and I started to get a feel for what was in season. That was one thing. So that was, really great. And also you get to know the farmers and stuff. So you start eating local and it grows from there. So, it's not, for me, it wasn't just about, it started off as being just health. But I think then it just expanded to, include a lot more, as you say, like a consciousness around how we live our lifestyle. So, where your food comes from, how that affects you, others, other living beings, the planet, so all these things came into it. Have a look back.
Awesome. And I want to touch on why, for the benefit of all of us, what's the benefit of eating seasonally and locally?
I think, one, in terms of a nutritional perspective, you're going to have a lot more nutrients in there. There's that. Also, I think energetically, you're eating the foods that are around you, and they have a certain energy that you're connecting with, the land and everything. You live there, so there's a connection. We're so disconnected from everything these days. I mean, we surround ourselves in buildings, we wear shoes, so we're not actually touching the earth. And so just connecting more with where you are on this planet at this point in time. I think that's something that's really important.
Does anyone have something to add to that?
I think eating, it's a real access. Eating seasonally, and then this is the whole idea, it especially happens with raw food, and I can speak of that with experience, but it generally happens with most diets as long as they're a transitional healthy diet. You're going to start going, all right, I'm going to start eating this, and you might go to your Woolies or Coles. You very quickly get over that, and you go, all right, well, what's the next step? And then you go and I'm going to go to the local markets. And then you're like, all right, well, I'm going to start talking to the farmer, and the farmer starts telling you about what's going on seasonally. And then you go, oh, well, how much further can I take this? I can go organic. But that's just the beginning, and that's the best thing about that's what that does. When you start getting into that inquiry, when you start getting into that discovery about what's going on in your environment, then you realize, hang on, what's actually going out in the wilderness of my environment? And it might lead you down the track of going towards going out to permaculture farms, and then going foraging for wild foods, and then sky's the limit. So it's an access.
Awesome.
It's a no-brainer in terms of getting the right nutrients and minerals. Eating seasonally, because you're going to get such a range of different fruits and vegetables. If you eat what's in the supermarket and they stock the same foods, year round, you're not getting the full variety. So if you're worried about, well, am I getting the right levels of, my vitamin Bs or whatever, if you eat seasonally, you will.
And the physically closer you are to the food source, the more nutrient value it starts off with. So if you can pull it out of the ground and then cook it. Or wash it and eat it.
Or not wash it.
Or not wash it. I just drank out of his water container. I was invited to drink out of his water container. We're sharing our microbiomes.
We don't mind germs.
You want my microbiome.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome, guys.